Good morning.
Look at all of you. Hey, good morning.
Good morning. I am Julie.
And I'm Jess, and this is Take Action Training.
That's right. So today's topic is near and dear to Jessica's heart. It is mine as well, but she masters it much better than I do.
This is definitely my forte.
It's her jam for sure. So she's going to be leading most of it. I'm going to be trying to soak up as much of the knowledge as I can. I have my own ways, but man, this topic's good for me. So hopefully for y'all too. Thank y'all for joining us today. So if you don't know what the topic is, it is how to do more in less time, productivity hacks, whatever.
And planning, which I was mentioning to Julie before we went live that this is probably the most avoided topic. People think they don't need it, but it's also oh, she knew I named this. Stop that. But it also is like the biggest game changer because honestly, if you can do more in more time and those tasks are your money-making tasks, then you can make more money or you can make more money in less time. Exactly. More in less time. I misspoke. Sorry.
Exactly.
So glad Jen is back. Kids are back in school. We knew we'd start seeing more of you again after school went back in session.
Hopefully everyone had a great summer. That was always, now my kid is in college, but when he was in school, it was almost like, you know how you get that new year rush and high on the planning, and it's just like you break out a new planner and, you know, you got it dialed in. That was kid going back to school for me. It was like I bought the planner, like the school planner kind that started in August because of that. So
good morning, Hilda. Good morning, Jate. Good morning. So I noticed that there's way more people on right now than who responded to my question in the group last night. And I just want to encourage everyone to get in the group and start responding on there so that we can kind of get an idea of what your answers are before we start TAT. But my question was, what's your biggest struggle with productivity? And if you want to answer that in the comments, I'd love to look at some of it because I'm always fascinated because, you know, I've been there for a lot of it. Yeah, Deanne, that's such a big one. Doing it my freaking self. But that's what we specialize in, right? We are socially inclined products and services. Sorry, Megacorp, but like we're geared toward the people who are doing it on a shoestring budget, doing it on a shoestring labor budget, most importantly. And a lot of us are solopreneurs, or what would you call a duopreneur like me and Julie?
Or I say multi-passionate entrepreneurs. So you usually have, you know, your hands in more than one thing. And there's such an influx of network marketing now that, you know, people have full-time jobs and they're trying to manage a side hustle. So there's just so much need for this, for sure.
For sure. Tiffany, we've missed you too. We see a lot of you back on today. So Nikki's missing an all-in-one system. Systems are crucial. Yes. Oh, Deanne, it's gotten way better since she found us. She's almost ready to up level and do more. Because we make her life even easier. Yay. Jate, staying focused. Yes. How could I miss this? Learn how to... Yeah. It's a funny story because I had to I scaredly, kind of like a mom having to go ask, or a kid having to ask mom after dad already said no. I asked Julie if I could put that as my subject for the email yesterday. And I thought she was going to say no. And she was like, sure.
I was like, Deanne's going to love it. That was what I said, Deanne.
Yeah.
So I just dropped the resource for everyone to be able to grab. Yeah. So my answer on the post was probably a lot of people struggle with, like all the things, shiny object syndrome, not not being able to focus on one task and finish it before you go to the next. I really, that's how I prefer to do things. I like to batch. So I want to do it and finish it. And I will not start something if I don't think I can finish it before I have to get up. And that is bad because that makes me put the big projects off, which is bad. So
exactly. So I guess we'll kind of get started. And my favorite thing is to kind of, if those of you have been kind of watching these TAT resources, I get to write them in conjunction in consulting with Julie. But I love my first line in these TATs because it's pretty much your biggest takeaway. You know, we're all about that quick show up and win. And in a nutshell, this first purple line, if you will, the script line, today what we're going to be showing you how to do is to take that vision and turn it into a plan, and how to take a plan and actually create actionable things that you can do. Because the disconnect, as Julie mentioned, it's a very common place to be, where I don't want to start something if I can't finish it. We hear that all the time. But the reality is, you know, a lot of times I'm working with Coco Melon blasting in the background, and I may have a literal 5 minutes to work before I have to get up, or I may have, you know, an hour and a half. And I think in some way or another, maybe you don't have a toddler, maybe, you know, you are caring for a loved one, or, you know, maybe you are doing something else. Maybe you have a 8 to 5 and you're trying to get a little side hustle income building work done on your lunch break, and you don't know exactly what that's going to look like. So what we're going to try and do today is take that vision and turn it into a plan, which a lot of you have probably done to an extent, but then we're going to take that plan and break it down into actions that you can take and you're going to know, like, if those actions are going to take minutes, or if you're going to need to earmark a larger block of time for some of those, you know, bigger tasks. And that, to me, is where the magic of creating massive productivity for myself comes, is knowing which task to tackle when and not wasting a bunch of time on it. So, like, you know, I write them all down, and Julie's really big into the online. We're using Nifty right now to literally map out every single task, even if it's one that's going to take 45 seconds, just so that we know exactly what it takes to bring a massive project like creating Social in 60 or SI Academy. So we know exactly what it takes to bring something into existence.
Exactly. And what I mentioned just at the beginning is, like, I won't start a project if I don't think I can finish it before I have to get up. So this solves that problem when you break it down into these smaller tasks. Okay, I can't finish the whole thing, but I can do 3 of them before I get up, and I'm making progress. So it is as much a mindset thing as anything. When you have to map it out. So I've always mapped it out. So I'm the planner. So anyway, we're excited.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and this one's kind of, how do I say, Julie really likes to talk about this as well. But the first thing that you're really going to want to do is look at what you're doing and look at what you're spending time on. And we're going to talk a little bit about what you can delegate, automate, and outsource. Because the reality is there are some things that have to be done in your business that are going to drain you. And when you're drained as an entrepreneur, you are very susceptible to burnout, or to dragging your feet, or to just simply not doing the task at hand, eating the frog that is going to be your your next step to creating that income.
Exactly. You can also fall into analysis paralysis with this as well. So I'm going to be really mindful.
For sure. So there, you guys can read this. I just kind of got in a flow yesterday and I was typing away, but I bolded this sentence right here because to me it sings the note that just sends chills through your spine in a good way. And that is, your to-do list shouldn't stress you. It should excite you. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So think about that. And if that was just kind of like a light bulb for you, then we're going to do some exercises going forward that is really going to help you figure out what you can let go of. And then that way you can spend your highest energy on those tasks that are going to make the biggest difference.
Right. When you enjoy doing something, you're going to do more of it. So, and again, for me, it's breaking down into those smaller tasks. There is a thing, like I used to love, I still do, to write it down just to be able to check it off. So put the little task down, even if it takes 45 seconds, just to be able to check it off. That win feeling, it really feels good. And to be able to look back at your accomplishments, no matter how you're keeping track of it. So celebrate the wins.
Yeah. And that's a really big thing too, because for a long time before I was a really good blocker, before I knew how to block my time and before I knew how to align my vision with my plan and take that plan into actions, I would finish a day of work and I would say, oh, I didn't really get anything done. But then now, because it's all broken down, I can see actually I checked off 23 things from my list today. They might have been small tasks. And, I might have had to spend 5 hours during the workday being a mom that day, but the 3 hours that I did work, I accomplished 23 things. So that is a huge benefit to busting up even tasks that don't seem big. Maybe you think they're going to take you about an hour, but you bust it into like 4 or 5 to-dos. And then all of a sudden you can start seeing yourself knocking it off, and it just gives you that momentum, because we all know momentum happens when you take action. Exactly. So you can't sit, or motivation and momentum happens when you take action. So you can't sit around waiting for it to happen. So here's another big theme of this particular one. And I think just about everybody on this call, all of you who are watching this on replay, can 100% admit that you have sat down to what was going to be an amazing work block, and maybe you like sent the kids somewhere, or you shut off your phone and you're going to sit down and you're going to work, and all of a sudden you have no idea where to start. Can anyone relate to that? Do you know that feeling? Because I know for a fact that when this starts to happen to me, it's time for me to sit back down and refocus. So if you don't know what you're working on, then you're doing busy work and it's not productive work.
Right. So, busy work is just a killer of momentum, really. Because you're not actually moving forward in your business. So you're staying busy and you feel overwhelmed and whatever. So knowing what you got to do is the biggest thing, for sure.
Exactly. So that first thing right there, what is the big picture? What's the end goal? What is that thing that you want to, or you need to accomplish, not to be so dire, but you need to accomplish to either stay in business or to take the next big step and to keep growing. And that is where you want to start with your plan. And then when you do this, once a month, or maybe I like to do it 20 or 30 minutes a week, usually on a Sunday or a Monday morning if I get pushed. And that is where I take that goal and I bust it into like subtasks, and then I bust those each into like tiny they seem so microscopic. But doing it that way, as I've mentioned multiple times before already, is a great way to attack it when you feel like you have no time to do anything.
Exactly. Sorry about the notification. I just turned it off, so hopefully it won't happen again.
It's okay. I'm trying to, I really got wordy. I was just chatting up a storm here. In this resource, but I think you'll find this resource probably the best resource we've done so far for you to just download and take it with you and reread it when you need to get back on track.
Exactly. One thing I want to point out here is that, like, if everyone's in a different chapter, so if we're on, you may be on 1, we may be on 20. So our to-do list looks starkly different than your to-do list. We have lots of large projects that we are working on and bringing forward. So that's why this is really, really pertinent, and I guess why it's come to the forefront today is because, we've got so much we want to bring to the table. So, but if you don't have a clear vision to plan this out, you will sit and spin your wheels. So you have some things you have to let go of. There's going to be a time constraint in everyone's lives. We have people that have brick and mortar stores. We have people that are direct marketers. You may be a service provider, a VA, whatever the case may be. This applies to everyone. You have to weigh the benefits of your task list and what's going to make the biggest bang for your buck as far as it comes with time. And then one last thing is that, we talk about money tasks all the time. When you are planning these, we need to think about what is going to be the best use of time. You can make a list, like our list is long. So and we have to do things. So, or push them back. So we're working on a 90-day cycle. Jess loves the book, 12-week
12-week year. 12-week year.
I haven't read it yet.
I don't really love the book. I love the principles. In fact, I hate the book because I feel like it's very all over the place. I kind of had to read it and then create my own thing to actually get some results out of it. But it is, where I kind of built my principles for productivity and planning. So Julie's absolutely right. We're talking about this from a large-ish startup company with a lot to do. But you can even think about this. So let's just say you started your network marketing business 3 weeks ago, and you are, I'm just for the sake of this saying, you're selling makeup. You want to think about this, and I assume that your goal is to build a business here. You're trying to create a downline, you're trying to get new customers. So what you'd want to think about is what are those income producing tasks? Because I know it's so easy, especially when you just start, to kind of get distracted by the next big and shiny thing. And you're like, oh my gosh, I need a freebie. Oh my gosh, I need to do this. I need to do that. I want to create my own website. I want to do all of that. And I fell prey to that. I was definitely a victim to the shiny object syndrome when I started even just like a basically no risk network marketing business. But what this business Jess would have loved to have told baby business Jess is that think about what tasks are actually going to create your money. And that's two things: getting more customers and getting more reps signed up underneath me. And so that would be your two goals, even if I'm trying to think of it from like the babyest businesses, which would be a network marketing business. And that would be your two goals. And to start there, well, how do I get more customers? Okay, I need to do more prospecting in one way or another. So I need to get visible online. Okay, how do I do that? I need to create social media posts or find social media posts and show up on social media every day. How do I do that? And you see how like all of a sudden I'm like 5 steps removed from that big picture or the big picture, but those tasks are the ones that I can create a social media post in 7 minutes, or a good one. I can create the image and the text in 7 minutes. So that would be the task that I fit in between, while she's watching 10 minutes of Coco Melon. I'll write that. I'll do that. And then I'll schedule it and it'll be done. And that may not seem like a massive thing, but if you only have 2 or 3 hours to work throughout the day, you can really, it can really add up because you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing in the tiny, what I like to call the tiny pockets of time that you might have. If you have, 2 4-hour work blocks to work on your business a day, then those principles still apply. And in some ways, it might be even more important for you to have sharp focus and and a direction so you know exactly where you're going with those big blocks of time. It's just different in the application.
For sure. And again, those small tasks that you do, it makes it easier to replicate them and save time in the future. So obviously that was one post. Take that, pick it up, do it again. It may take less time. Repurpose.
For sure.
So
yeah, it's exercise time.
Yep. I want to say too, so we talk about this. I'm trying to remember where it's at in here about outsourcing. It's like, do the things you love, delegate the rest, or outsource. So you may not even can fathom outsourcing at all if you're a baby biz or whatever. But if you weigh your time and the ROI, you can get there. So some of this, when you're reading this, I just want to say it is applicable to everyone, even the side hustle that thinks, if outsourcing, we're an outsourcing, our YSP product, social media. Yeah. That's a done for you. That's something that a lot of people outsource.
Yeah. So, and it's actually coming up. So it doesn't make any sense to really start thinking about outsourcing or delegating or automating until you have your plan. So this is where the rubber now meets the road. We've been talking about the what and the why it's so important. And I've been talking a little bit about how, but now you're going to make your plan. And whether you print this out or whether you have a $7 planner off of Amazon or you have a 25-cent notebook from the Walmart, you're going to open it up and you're going to start sketching it out. And here is one of the most important places to not skip details. If in this plan or in this vision, you're writing things like create a 90-day program, create a content product, that is going to get you nowhere. So what you have to do is maybe you create a content product, and then you're going to bust that. I like that word because it makes me feel all like accomplished. You're going to bust that goal into the 5 or 6 things that have to happen in order for that content product to exist. So maybe that's decide where you're going to source your content or who's going to create your content. Decide who's going to write captions for you. Decide how you're going to deliver it. And then, all the other things. And then that breaks down. And if for those of you who have read ahead, there is a page in the last page of this document that is kind of a nice little mind map that you can use. I designed it. I've never actually used it, but I use it I made it a lot prettier for you guys because I create a circle, I write the big thing, and then I start from there all the way down. Again, I cannot stress enough, break it into 5-minute tasks. If you can, if it can be busted into a 5-minute task, bust it into a 5-minute task. And even out to here, those 1, 2, 3s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s, those are going to be your smaller tasks. And then out to the side, I would even write how long you think it's going to take you to do that. Because that is how you know where your baby tasks are that you can fit in when you are having a really limited day.
Yeah. So imagine if you were, instead of scrolling Facebook and wasting 5 minutes,
nobody does that. What?
You could look at your baby task list or whatever and say, oh, I can get that done, because most tasks are not always sequential. You don't, have to do them in a certain order. So, and social media is just a good one that's always can be a quick task. So
bust that goal. Hashtag the Walmart. Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to sketch that out. And for those of you like Deanne, you teach this. So this may seem a little elementary to you, but I hope you can appreciate our perspective on it. You're still here interacting and engaging with us. So
that's right. If you have any great golden nuggets, feel free to drop them as well. Anything that works for you, anyone else. So we usually, wait for questions at the end. But if you've got comments, Debbie can collect them, and we're watching. But my idea for this Make Your Plan has always been brain dump style. I try to sit down. I try to make this I try to clear an hour or however long you have, but to literally think, all the things, because it makes it less messy in my head if I can get them on paper, on a digital, there's Evernote, there's all kinds of ways, but get everything out of your head so that way you've got an organized thing to look at. In our mind, we always think, oh yeah, we can get this out in a month. Well, when you've got 6 other things that, oh yeah, we can
funny
get this
joke.
out in a month. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. So having a great plan to start with will actually be an eye opener as to what is really possible.
For sure. And also breaking it down like that helps you whenever it becomes obvious that you're going to miss that goal, then it makes it a lot easier to just roll on in. Okay, well, now the goal is here and we're going to try again, because grace is a huge part of planning, productivity, and execution. I'll let you in on a secret for those of you who are recovering perfectionists. You're going to miss deadlines. You're going to fall short of goals. And it's your job as a determined entrepreneur to say, you know what? I missed it, but this is when I'm going to do it. This is how I'm going to ensure that I do it this time. Grace is important.
It is, because most entrepreneurs are type A. We can do it all. We can tackle anything. Yes, that's all true, but we all still have the same 24 hours. So that's why this productivity is so important, to try to really be, for me, it's to be mindful of time, for one, try to get back into work-life balance, because there are a lot of entrepreneurs that would just work 24/7. So having a good productivity plan will also fix some of that. So,
can I talk about Linda's question real quick? I can come back to it, but I feel like it's pretty relevant. She's asking about a book. Oh, I thought you were talking about a book. I was about to answer your question in a blog post. So yes, this one's even more relevant. I feel like a lot of people can associate, or golly, my language just went out. But a lot of people can kind of feel writing a blog post easier than writing a book. In this case, you would want to, I would think, big plan, how many blog posts, and what are the titles of the blog posts, or what is the content that you need to get out there for SEO. And then this would be one of the situations where you either need to create a time block. So at this point, you would figure out what part of your week you could dedicate an hour to. So for me, sometimes I have to have time, in which case, before I had help with Olivia, it would be either before she woke up, or I could always count on 7 p.m. or later to do those kind of undisturbed work. So a lot of times that would be where I do my content creation. But you can bust those things down even smaller. And so for me, it takes me about an hour to write a blog post. I know I'm a lot faster because I do it on a large scale across a lot of different niches. So maybe for you, it's going to take you 2 hours. You could bust that into 4 different 30-minute writing sessions, and you may surprise yourself and see that once you have that first 30 minutes, you only really need another 30 minutes. But it's still all about breaking it down. And I think if you understand, if you have mapped out what your title is and what the purpose of the blog is, because a blog, if it doesn't have a purpose, if it's not serving you in SEO or bringing people to your freebie, your group in some way or another, then, you shouldn't be spending time on it. But if you're clear on your purpose for that blog, then you can just bust out the time that you think it's going to take you and spend that time writing, and just be prepared to get up and walk away from it. And a lot of times that's good, because then when you come back, you have a little bit of a fresh perspective.
Sure. And batch style for me, how I like to tackle that and social posts, or come up with the topics, get the title, create an outline. And then you got to think about all of your small tasks, like actually putting it into your website, doing the SEO for it. The main reason you're writing a blog is for SEO. Internal links back to other places on your website. A call to action. Why are you writing that blog post? You need to be trying to sell something, push them somewhere, free sign up. A blog's point is to bring people that don't already know you, for the most part, to you. And last, schedule that blog on social media. Send an email out. There's tons of things, of ways you can break that down. And thinking about anything to get more life out of it too. Obviously you don't want to do the thing and then not get the reward from it. So think of in those terms, like what else can it serve?
Exactly. All right. So, Shannon, this is a great question, and I'm going to answer it real quick before we talk about this. Time blocking is actually the opposite of breaking up your time. So there's two things that you're going to do when executing your plan. And the time block is for your bigger tasks that just cannot be broken down. Like when Julie and I need to create a hour-long webinar, we cannot break that into 5 minutes. So that is where a time block is. And it's a non-negotiable block of time where you are your highest functioning self and you're going to churn out those creative things that you have to do that are non-negotiable in that time block. Breaking up and what have I even calling it now? Chunking. Little block, like, wow. She even created me a hashtag and it just left me. But those small busting, yeah. Where I've been talking about busting your time, those are the small things. Those are the things that you can bust into 5 to 20 minute increments so that you can do something in 20 minutes. That's done. Get up and walk away if you have to.
Right.
So time blocking, big chunks of time, busting your time, small little chunks of time. So moving on. This might seem scary, as Julie has already mentioned, if you are a baby business or you're a side hustler, a solopreneur, you name it. If you cannot imagine hiring someone, because outsourcing is something that you think of when you're saying, like, I'm sending my call center to India, or I'm sending the manufacturing of this product to China. We're not talking about on that level. We're talking about those tasks that you can delegate or automate or outsource to another entity. So for instance, we're an outsource company for hundreds, it's so exciting, hundreds of small businesses with our product, with the Your Social Plan product. When people buy our content bundles, that's a form of outsourcing, because what we just did was we spent 80 hours once creating 180 nail posts or 180 skincare posts or Facebook group engagement posts, and we sold them to an entrepreneur so that they didn't have to spend those 80 hours. So think about it like that. And you can do that with just about everything, including blogging, writing any kind of content, of course, social media management and website, because we do that, web design. But that is the level of outsourcing, automating, and delegating. Automating, we're speaking more about scheduling things, whether you do that natively in Facebook and Instagram, or if you use the all-in-one socially inclined dashboard. That's the way you can automate and outsource. Yes, outsourcing is also called buying yourself time. Yes, for sure, because your time is money. Thank you, Julie, for dropping that again.
You're welcome. You also, something we don't cover here specifically, but also things like a house cleaner. So things that you'd be spending time on, in your home, that you could outsource that so that you could have more time to work on your business. So there's lots of ways to, to think about outsourcing and being able to get more time. So
yeah, I mean, I outsource childcare. So
sure, yeah. And if you think about it, you're probably already doing a lot of the things. Like it took me a long time. You have to get in a mindset to be able to do it as well. So one, we're an entrepreneur. We think we can do it all ourselves better than anyone else. You have to get in the mindset too. If you can do it, that doesn't mean you should do it. QuickBooks. You believe I still that's been something that I've been on a mission for the last 2 months to find a bookkeeper to I completely turn that over to. Imagine if it even if I did it through QuickBooks, it's $200 a month. Can you imagine how that's less?
And
than
she spends 40 hours of time on it.
Yes. So because I blocked that.
Yeah.
So there's lots of things. So think about time versus money. If you do outsource something, what's the benefit to you? Obviously, you get more time, but how can you need to work on money tasks in that time frame. So we talk about money tasks a lot. It needs to pay for itself. So
Deanne is cracking me up down there. She's definitely outsourcing schooling her kid this year because she's a miserable homeschool parent. Yes.
Hey, that is a hard thing.
Yeah,
so, for sure.
Maybe we should have done. I wish we could have done this last year, this time when everyone was grappling with having to either homeschool or send their kids to school and in a very uncertain environment.
Yeah, and be intentional. With that, some of the things with that are set a block for your homeschooling task with your kids. Force them to do it at that time. They have to ask you questions, just like if they were in class, and get the help they need. Then that's done and you move back to your business. So this whole planning and blocking thing, there's something to it.
Yep. All right. So this next page, outsourcing, don't be afraid of it. Embrace it, or at least embrace the idea of it. So to figure out what you can give to someone else. Think about it that way. If the word outsourcing or automating sounds too intimidating, let's go with delegating, and let's go to the definition of delegating, and that is giving to someone else, giving something to someone else to do. List out all your tasks. Once you've kind of created that plan and I suggest you do this separately. Yes, dump it all out, get it out of your head, but you'll want to organize this based on goal, based on what you're trying to accomplish. So you'll want one page. Yeah, you'll want one page for the most pressing thing that you need to do. And you're going to bust that down into all of your tasks. And you're going to look at it and you're going to say, holy crap, I need 60 posts. I need 30 posts this week that will engage my group, or this month that will engage my group. And I need 30 posts about nails because I'm trying to get more people to buy my nails. You can outsource that. And yeah, I'm sure, shameless plug. You can buy our content and then it's done. And all of a sudden you have 4 or 5 more hours that are free, maybe more if you've never made content before. I remember when I first started trying to make content, it was taking me almost an hour a post. So that could even be 60 hours of time that you got back for $150.
Sure.
Think about it like that.
The ROI on that, once you it's like you got to take the first step first. You need to be really intentional with what you choose, and you need to be able to see so that you'll want to do more of it, see the value in it. So if it is shameless plugging in our content, you can see, oh, I got 5 new customers this week. Yay, that paid for it. And I've got the rest of the year done. So now I'm in the black and going. If you just can't fathom it, think about, we'll use social posts again. If you have a 15-year-old child, get them on Google looking for ideas, whatever. They don't teach them Canva. It's a resource that, that they will use forever and ever. Put your children to work. So
for sure. If I had some teenagers right now, I would have them, Jen, Elderberry Jen, I'm looking at you. I would have them making me some reels big time for Instagram.
Yep, I feel good. Whatever. I mean, there's like tons of options. Yeah, you don't, we talk about being the face of your business all the time, but your kids can be too. So,
yeah, definitely. I feel like my reach is farther than ever, and it's 100% because of my adorable little toddler. Mm-hmm. Not because of anything I'm doing. But yeah, so Deanne, thank you so much for that. And she's absolutely correct. Sadly, even though it's been on our list for over 6 months now, we still don't have our affiliate program up and running quite like we want it to. So she was not compensated to say that, but we definitely appreciate the great feedback.
Exactly. It's on our list.
For sure. And when it gets here, man, all these people that want to sell for Socially Inclined, I cannot wait. It makes my heart so happy. Very interested in the nail bundle. Oh, in the nail bundle, and we'll be in touch.
Yep, I commented in the group. So yes, Carrie Ann, just reach out to me. So
yeah. So, and we have lots of bundles. So it really wasn't the intent to be pushing our social media content, but for any level of business, that's where these bundles came from, because we would have people that came to us and say things like, I am spending so many hours a week creating content and I just can't afford to do it anymore. Because you spend an hour creating content and that's an hour that you can't be doing like immediate money making tasks. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about delegating and outsourcing. And that's what you're going to do on this page, is list out every task and decide which ones you have to take. Like, no one can make the YSP videos for me, and no one can hop on a webinar or a podcast for me when Julie's there too. That's irreplaceable. But I can have people help me create the content for your social plan. And I can have professional copywriters help me write copy for Facebook ads, blog posts, you name it.
Exactly. There's all types of AI out there as well. So it might be buying a software tool that will cut your time in half. So there's lots of ways to think about, if you're doing your books, if you're doing by hand every month, you could get QuickBooks. Yes, you're going to spend a little bit, but it can save time. So.
Oh, and last shameless plug, we also do write emails, blog posts, and create freebies. Yeah. And those are all things that I could not tell you how much money I lost, because it was time that I spent writing and doing my own stuff in the beginning.
Yeah. So think about it like this. Last week we covered social interactions. So imagine if instead of spending an hour making a social post or making social posts, you spent that time doing the engagement, the, talking to people, and what value that would give to your business, and setting up, to bring in new customers, new clients, whatever you do. So, for me, I don't budget enough time to sell in this business. That honestly should be 100% of what I'm doing.
Because Julie is our best seller. So that's the trade-off, right, that we're having to make. Sorry. I knew you weren't going to say that, but she's our greatest asset when it comes to selling. Yet she's so overwhelmed with stuff that she can't do her what is that, zone of genius. Right. So anytime that you're having to operate outside of your zone of genius, you are losing money. Exactly. You might as well be bleeding it.
Right. I saw a question a minute ago, is how do you fight overwhelm? So I don't remember who said that, but I'm going to touch on it. So I don't care, again, if you're on 20 or 1 or whatever, all entrepreneurs have all the things. They're just different in some ways. So because now, I visited a customer last week and he said, oh my gosh, the day, granted, I spent $3,000 a month on that Yellow Page ad, but I did that one time and it was done for the whole year. Yes, I paid for it every single month. He said, now there's social media, there's blogs, there's SEO, there's my website, there's videos, there's YouTube. He's like, it's crazy what I wouldn't give just to do $3,000 a month instead of having like those things he's having to do in his business are taking up so much time. So get in your mindset as to what will generate the money for you. Dump everything out of your brain and really be intentional about what will drive your business forward. We all waste time. All waste time. I don't care. Jessica probably wastes less than anybody I know, but there's probably times, that it happens.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
So, and some people, like I will say to her a lot of times, because she's so organized with everything, I was like, I don't want to add to the to-do list all the things because I don't want it to overwhelm you. So I say that. So that's we've gotten over that hurdle that it's not going to overwhelm her. But people have different styles. So I was really trying to be not put her in a place of overwhelm. So
what she didn't know was my magical system of, okay, noted that. I'll get that to that in 2025.
Right? But it's only
just kidding. Yeah.
But there are some things that we probably will not get to till 2025. But
yeah, and you have to be that disciplined about it. That's what the very first step was about, is like figuring out the next thing that has to happen.
Right. So, and I think when you can say in your mind, I think that reduces the overwhelm. No, I would love to do that, but that's not going to happen for 2 years. But I'm going to keep it on my list because it's a goal. And what if I get through these things faster? So like we use a Trello. So everybody here probably is familiar with Trello. And there's going to be a part 2 of this training where we're going to get into some tools and things. But, so we use Nifty, but it's like Trello. And so like you have them lined up and you do the things as they come. So, and we can reorder them as we go, but it just feels good to know what you have. So what you have to do to make it all work. So that reduces overwhelm for me. Just having it out of my head and knowing I'm not going to forget something. Setting up automations too, anything that you can schedule or do once and it's done for you and automated, that will save you time as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And
Nikki says Trello's overwhelming. Really? I can't wait to show Trello. I love Trello.
Well, that's fine. Savita, that last page is for you, girl. You just print that last page out, one for each project. So, you have that, whatever your money-making program is that you are trying to complete, that's going to be a page. And then getting your Facebook group to 2,000 members, that's going to be a page, a project. And then getting, your next goal, print it out 3 times and give 3 projects that you feel most compelled to accomplish next.
Exactly. And again, everybody's style is different. You might use Evernote. You might use a piece of paper. You may use a bullet style journal. I mean, there are so many different ways. Just pick one and go with it. Just starting is the thing and saying, yes, I'm going to do this.
Yes.
Automation, yes, is the key. It is.
Yeah. And I love Deanne's comment. She's absolutely right. These trainings, it's like gratitude. You give a little, you get a little. So if you want answers and questions, you have to engage. And she shows up to do that. Mm-hmm. And it reflects in her business. I know her business is in a better place than it was when she stumbled upon us. I believe it was March or February of this year. And that's what it's all about. We love seeing people here. Every week. Yes.
So quickly before we wrap up, we try to do these. If there's any last questions or comments or takeaways, ahas.
Yeah. I've already screenshotted for those of you, like I've already gotten Deanne's, some of your really awesome ahas. I love them because I like to use them in the email for the 7,200 people that didn't show up who are in our community. I like to email everybody and give them a recap of what happened in today's training and some of the biggest takeaways. So if you want to be famous to 7,200 people, 250, because you all are getting the email. and see yourself in your inbox, you can leave us a comment and I'll screenshot it.
And Carrie Ann gives props to Deanne. It says the comments are I lost it, are the best part of the live, something like that, are the valuable part of the live. Don't stop. That's right.
Andrea, that's a great question. So I'm going to assume you are new here. And we actually haven't talked about the Take Action training program yet today. Our live trainings on Tuesday are part of a Take Action training program where Julie and I are showing up every Tuesday in 2021, covering a different marketing topic that we have found is crucial for growth in the digital space, if you will. So this one, I believe, is 31. This is our 31st training topic. It was productivity and planning. Since you were here, you already know that. But the other 30 cover a huge array of anything that has to do with marketing. We've covered Instagram hashtags. We've covered stories. We did a 6-week part on Facebook and setting up a funnel for your customers on Facebook. We did a 7-part series on a freebie where we showed people, we walked you through the conceptualizing of your freebie, the designing of your freebie, all the way through installing it on a sales page and creating an autoresponder for it. And lots of awesome, useful topics sprinkled in between. And you can go to that link and see all of the ones we've covered up to this week. And you can decide. You will get an email if you're on our email list. We email every Tuesday morning to remind you to join. But as I mentioned, you have missed 30 of them. And currently, through the end of September, if everyone's lucky, we will keep the pricing model of $2 a training. So you can get access to unlimited replays of the 50 trainings for just $99. So that's $2 a training where you get to spend an hour of me and Julie walking you through and teaching you how to do something crucial, but most importantly, action focused in your business.
Exactly. Hilda wanted to know, what if they all showed up? So this webinar software will only let 1,000 show up at a time, but we do record these obviously, so they can get them after the fact. Linda wants to know if we will continue TAT in 2022. We will always have some type of trainings. They may look a little different in 2022.
Yes, it will not be TAT. The Take Action training will be finishing in 2021. And then we're looking at some bigger ticket group type trainings. So we will always show up and deliver free value because that's where we started and that's what we promised. But new things have to happen. Andrea, you can get the TAT replays by following this link. You can learn about it on that link and then just sign up.
And when you close out of this, it'll also rotate you to that page.
Oh yeah, when we end, you'll go to the TAT.
And
I saw one other thing.
I was trying to scroll back up to look.
Oh, when does the new YSP dashboard start? So it is happening this week, and it's the same. It's just the onboarding's a little better.
Yes. So, and you're going to get more if you're a dashboard member. That'll be, we alluded to it last Thursday. We'll cover it again this coming Thursday. So.
Ooh, I like what Carrie said here. Thanks for the help not to squirrel and how to work smarter, not harder. Our pleasure.
You know, also call yourself out when you find yourself doing it. Everyone does it. It's okay. Just try to be intentional and say, okay, I'm not going to let that happen again. So, when you've been scrolling, especially last week's topic was social interactions. So the whole point of that is getting on social and being, engaging and commenting and whatever, but you have to set a time block for that, not a time block. Well, it could be a time block. What's the other one called, Jess? A bust. I forgot. Anyway, a little one, not a big one. To do that, but it is important.
Time block and time pockets.
Thank you.
That's that's what we're going to call it.
Yep. And be very intentional to do those things and then dart back off to get back on your big list.
Exexactly. So yes, Shannon, we do have some new types of memberships, some I'm not going to say like extensive, if you will, extensive memberships. And we're creating a backlog right now of some trainings that literally any entrepreneur could use. And these would be topic style. So you get in and there's, 8 to 12 videos walking you through how to set up a WordPress site. Sorry, Julie, if I'm giving away too much, but
no, that's fine.
It's going to cover any and every topic, and it's going to be a membership. So we're getting there. We're getting there.
Exactly.
We just don't want to do a shoddy job.
What we're doing now, we're doing in the background in those time blocks of time to record those. So, but we're making them, start and stoppable, easily consumed. This you have to commit a whole hour to be in here. So those you can start and stop in your pockets of time. 5-minute videos.
Exactly. Oh, Shannon wants to know about Social in 60. All I can say is I promise you we will do our first 60-day program for Social in 60 in completion before the end of the year.
Yes, it's going to be a live version where we walk through with you.
Yeah. So. And in there, we are going to hopefully incorporate some, what is that? Co-working, goal setting.
Exactly. Yes.
Type things so that you can do it.
Some more, like right now we're speaking to you, you can chat with us, but like more group, hand holding, if you will. So obviously, that costs a little bit more than $2 a piece, but it depends on where you are and if you need that help. So we're trying to carve out a way to make that happen.
But if you're sitting there wondering where to start and you're not a TAT student yet, hop in there. That's where you start. You go through TAT and you will hit the black and generate enough revenue to join us for some of these bigger programs, which will be ready here in the next few months. So, all right, let's stop recording at the very least and then say goodbye. Get it done. Yep.